NFL futures discussion. And our panel is Geoff, Ulrich, also Kenny Ducey. So we're looking at these season passing totals here, guys, for the following quarterbacks for the 2021 season. Let's start with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. His total is set at 3850 and a half. Can he get there, Ulrich? Yay or nay, and why?
Yeah, I'll take the over on this one. I mean, first of all, it's a really low prop. I mean, for quarterbacks in this day and age, a decent season, you're seeing a lot of mid-range QBs, hit the 4,000 yard mark. I mean, Baker Mayfield bounced back nicely last year. He improved his completion percentage again, and I think there's a lot more room where he can improve on that even more. I mean, 63% is fine, but it's not really elite, and I think Baker Mayfield has it in him to kind of improve on that. It's the second year in a Kevin Stefanski offense. And yeah, the Browns want to run the ball. That's fine, but they also want to be balanced. Odell Beckham being back, and I know the rapport with him and Beckham wasn't good, but I just really feel like Baker Mayfield is in a situation where he's going to be able to take a step up next year. And last thing, he's playing for a contract. I mean, the Browns have said they're going to wait and see what Baker does this year. He's got a lot of motivation, and as we learned with Aaron Rodgers last year, Emerson, QBs with motivation in this league, I just don't think you want to fade them. So I'm going to take the over on Baker props this year.
Kenny, he threw 30 or fewer passes in 10 of 16 games and only topped 300 yards passing twice last year.
Yeah, he only topped 300 yards twice. He also went under 200 yards 7 times. No, I am not taking the over on Baker Mayfield. We talked about this with the Nick Chubb rushing over. This is a team that just loves to run the ball. Baker Mayfield, he is a talented quarterback, but something is wrong there. Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield have only hooked up on about half of their targets. He just hasn't been a factor with Mayfield. I don't know if it's Mayfield not being as good as we think he is or Beckham not being as good, but one of those two guys is just not doing their job right now. And then you combine that with the fact that he doesn't even throw the ball a lot. The fact that, we really are just looking at a couple of guys. I mean, Rashad Higgins is not a guy that I'm really focused on. And you look at Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, there's just no reason for them not to run the ball all the time. No, I'm not taking the over on Baker Mayfield. I just don't think that the passing attack is really just going to be there for them. And we saw that last year. Even down the stretch, it seemed like Baker Mayfield was gaining some momentum, throwing for more yards, and it just didn't happen. I can't take this over in good faith. I can't.
All right, let's head to Minnesota, gentlemen. Look at Kirk Cousins. So he had north of 4,200 yards in 2020, has a player prop of 4,100 and a half for 2021. Do you like him to go over that number, Kenny?
I do. I think that the Vikings are going to be good this year. I think that it was a tough season for them, but they showed a little bit of potential. And I think that Kirk Cousins is a guy that you give him an extra game now, and that's the biggest thing with the 4,200 yards last season, or over 4,200 yards. And now you give him an extra game. I think that the game script here would fit the Vikings trying to come from behind. I think that defense had some question marks last year. And when you talk about, the talent on this team, he has Dalvin Cook as a passing option. He has been throwing the ball to Dalvin Cook. They've been getting him the ball a lot as a pass catching back. That's why that his fantasy stock has risen up. And I think that ultimately he can help Kirk Cousins get over this total. I know that there's been a little bit of turnover there with the receivers, but I still think that as long as Thielen's there, as long as Cook's there, this offense is going to be good. This team's going to win games, and Kirk Cousins is going to continue to put up 4,000-yard seasons. The guy's just done it pretty consistently now. 5 of the last 6 have gone over 4,000. So I'm willing to take this over here.
I mean, Geoff, my only thing is the Vikings have morphed into one of the most run-heavy offenses in football.
Yeah, it's interesting to note, like the only year that the Vikings got to 10 wins was the only year that Kirk Cousins failed to get to over 4,000 yards. So it does kind of feel like if their defense bounces back, that it might actually negatively affect Kirk Cousins' yardage totals for the year. Now you look at this yardage number that they're giving us for 17 games, and it feels like it's just an automatic over. So unfortunately, I am going to have to agree with Kenny because there's really no argument here. I mean, this is a quarterback who's hit over 4,100 yards in 4 of his last 6 seasons. And one of those seasons that he didn't hit it, he was within 7 yards of it. So, trending wise, I mean, Kirk Cousins has proven that, if you give him even just like a few pass attempts, he's probably going to get there. He's got an elite down the field pass catcher and Justin Jefferson to work with now. I think that's going to be enough to push him over. I'm not super bullish on it. I don't never really super bullish on any over props for Kirk Cousins, but I think this one, it's just too low. It just feels a little bit too low. So.
All right, let's head to the Pacific Northwest. Take a look at Russell Wilson. His 2021 total is set at 4250.5. Is that too high, Geoff?
Again, this one is like the exact opposite. You look at what Russell Wilson has produced, and I mean, he's gone over 4,200 yards, in 2 the last 5 years. But obviously now he's got the extra game to work with. And Russ is an Ironman. I mean, he's never missed a start in the NFL, so I think you can pretty safely peg him for 17 games started here. I would lean over here. I like the fact that they brought in Shane Waldron, a guy who was the passing coordinator for the Rams. The Rams were top 10 in passing yards, in 3 of the 4 years that Waldron was there. Like, I do think that this offense is going to be more efficient passing the ball. Doesn't mean they're going to morph into the greatest show on turf or something, but I think you're going to see a little bit more efficiency. And I do feel like, with the extra game, Russ probably would have gone over this number. Not probably, he would have gone over this number the last 2 years if they had 17 games. So, you look at the numbers and what he's produced, and you're like, it's kind of on the fence. I'm just not taking the under on Russell Wilson props. I think this guy's got something to prove as well, and I like the moves that Seattle made with their coaching staff.
All right, we have under 90 seconds to go in the show. Take it away, Kenny, here on this Russell Wilson prop.
I can't do it. I can't take the over. I love Russell Wilson more than anybody. I think he's the best quarterback in the league. But no, I can't do it. When you look at Russell Wilson's last season, he had 400 of his yards were accounted for in that Bills game, 380 in the Cardinals game. The second time he played the Cardinals, he had 100 yards. 3 last games of the season, under 250. I just feel like the number last year was a little bit inflated, which makes this number inflated. And if you're talking about sheer value, it's got to be the under here. There's also that conflict with Pete Carroll trying to run the ball too much. They're not letting Russell Wilson cook like they said they were going to. Can't do it. Can't take the Russell Wilson over. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, that was such a disappointing second half to his season last year. And then the DK Metcalf disappearing act, that didn't help.